Hey there. So I have a lot more free time on my hands, as I'm sure most people do. And I have been watching a lot of Dr. Pol, The Incredible Dr. Pol on the Disney Plus. And so Dr. Pol is a vet in the States, in Michigan, and he's been at it for 40 years, I think. He's been practicing medicine, veterinary medicine. And I watched an episode that was like basically all a bunch of weird stuff. So he came across new illnesses or injuries or whatever in animals, and even after 40 years, he came up against something that he'd never seen before. And I have been thinking about this in terms of my own work, because I have a client right now who I'm not going to tell you about the details of, but it's a conflicting situation. So it's personal taxes. So I'm trying to figure out the Income Tax Act here, but it's a situation that I've never seen before. And there's two rules that apply to the situation that they have. And there's nowhere that says that one rule applies over the other, and they're contradicting. So I can't apply both rules. And I have never seen this before. And there's nothing really written about it because it's a strange scenario. And so I'm having to figure out how I'm going to solve this problem, because I have to solve the problem in order to file the taxes, and I can't do both. I can't do both answers. And so in watching Dr. Pol and in trying to solve this problem, I'm wondering how other people solve problems that they come up against in their work or in their life that they've never seen before. So my thought on this is that the best thing you can do is, one, do a bunch of research to find out everything you can in terms of, in Dr. Pol's case, he'll look stuff up in books, or, well, he doesn't actually. He mostly just goes, what am I going to do about this? And it's kind of all in his brain. But in my case, look into the Income Tax Act, look at CRA, backgrounders or information bulletins, or like any information that I can get, basically. And then the second thing, which I think is actually the most important one, is to go and ask your colleagues. So for me, I work by myself, but there are obviously other accountants in the world. And so I'm part of groups that allow me to ask my colleagues, even though I might not know them personally. So I'm in a Facebook group, for example, excuse me, called Canadian Tax Nerds, and that allows me to ask questions like this that are very specific and have other real world tax practitioners answer it and have a bunch of different opinions, so we can get a bit of a conversation going and bounce ideas off each other. And that happens in Dr. Pol too. The Dr. Pol show, there's 3 vets that work in this clinic, and so if one of them sees something they've never seen before, or they just need a second opinion, then they're able to bounce ideas off of each other and just sort of talk it out. And I love this. I love this idea of being able to chat with colleagues, but not necessarily having, like, I can still work as a sole practitioner, but I can contact other people and or to have a discussion about the Income Tax Act, which is not something most people want to chat about, turns out. So I would love to know from you, what's the weirdest thing that you've come up against, or that, not against, because sometimes it's not an issue, but what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you in your business where you'd never seen it before and you're like, man, I don't know, like, this is weird. There's a lot of different answers that could be true, and I don't really know how to reason to one specifically. So let me know. I'd love to know what the weirdest one is for you. Or if you have any suggestions as to how to go about solving these problems, I'd love to know that too. So let me know in the comments. And until then, after then,